So, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Apex Laboratories Limited, we wish you all a National Nutrition Week. As per UNICEF, the diet of women in India is often too poor to meet their nutritional need. Nearly a quarter of women of reproductive age in India are undernourished with a body mass index of less than 18.5. Hence, nutrition is important at every phase of women's life. As there is a lack of awareness among the women on the role of nutrition, Apex Laboratories, the nutrition expert, has under the theme of women's health is nation's wealth to create awareness on the importance of nutrition in women with the help of the respected medical practitioners. So this nutritional week, we are creating awareness by way of patient education programs, anemia detection camps, CMEs, and NutriConnect webinars. Hope you all will appreciate our efforts and support us in this endeavor. And with this short note, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Pratik Tambe sir, who is a governing council member, ICOG, managing committee member, MOX, MSR, and ISAR. So, sir, it's over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Apex Pharma, for collaborating with Science Integra and myself. This is part of the NutriConnect series. The very first program that we're holding is very appropriately during the National Nutrition Week, as sir has pointed out. Malnourishment is still widely prevalent in this country at both extremes, both undernutrition as well as overnutrition, even though we are in 2023. And to highlight it, we have three fantastic national faculty who will be speaking on different aspects of nutrition in women from Menarche to Menopause. I'd like to hand over the session to the chairpersons and let me introduce them formally. Dr. Asha Jain is a member of the Chhattisgarh Medical Council. She is the Vice President of IMA Chhattisgarh, Zonal Chair for the Toxic Food, Drug and Medico-Surgical Equipment Committee of TOG. She is also been the immediate past president of Raipur Society, also served in various different organizations in Raipur, including the IMA of Raipur as well as the Rotary Club of Raipur. Thank you very much, ma'am, for being with us. Our second chairperson is none other than Dr. Anju Soli. She is the chairperson for the HIV/AIDS Committee of TOG, also president-elect of the Indian Menopause Society. He is president of Jaipur Society and also the president of the Jaipur Menopause Society, a host of different academic as well as awards to her credit. Thank you very much for being here with us despite a busy schedule. And I'd like to hand over the session to the chairpersons to take us forward and to introduce the first speaker, Dr. Ritu Khanna, who is the current chair of the Toxic Food, Drug and Medico-Surgical Equipment. Over to the chairpersons.
Thank you, Dr. Pratik, for this opportunity. And it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ritu Khanna, ma'am, who is the director of Khanna Medical Center Fertility Clinic, Varanasi. She is a fertility specialist and endoscopic surgeon. She is the chairperson, as you've already said, of FOGSI Food Drug Medico-Surgical Equipment Committee. She is the secretary of the Society of Fetal Medicine UP chapter till the year 24, Central Executive Committee member, Society of Fetal Medicine 24, executive member of UP-COG, scientific secretary, IMS Varanasi chapter, and she is working on exclusive single embryo transfer. So that is really commendable for someone. She's been awarded the BC Roy Memorial Award 2018 for outstanding contribution in the field of gynae. She has the Presidential Award 2021 by IMA Banaras for exemplary good work and services in field of gynecology. She's published many papers on male and female infertility. She's a peer reviewer of JOFM and Fertility Science and Research. Over to you, Dr. Ritu, ma'am.
Yeah.
And over and above that, she is our ever smiling, happy personality. Welcome,
Thank you.
Ritu.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Asha, for those very loving and kind words. And thank you, Dr. Pratik Tambe, sir, for having us here on this platform, along with Apex and Science Integra together in this Nutrition Week. And that's, I think, an important time for us to be on this topic and highlighting what really needs to be done with. I hope you can see my screen share.
Yes,
Is it
ma'am. Please go
visible?
ahead. Absolutely.
Yes. So I would taking up the micronutrients and overview. So the micronutrients are referred to as to the vitamins and the minerals, and they're vital, we all know, to the healthy development, disease prevention, and well-being. But except for vitamin D, the micronutrients are not produced in the body, and therefore they need to be derived from the diet. So though we need very small amount of these, but yes, consuming them is the most important thing that we need to understand. And they're not going to give us the energy, but what are they going to do? They're going to enable the body to use the other nutrients and also play a role in the growth, repair, and regulation of the vital body functions. So if any deficiency, it's going to be devastating. So humans must obtain the micronutrients from food since the body cannot make them as vitamins or minerals, and therefore they're called as essential nutrients. The vitamins, they are the organic compounds by the plants and the animals, and so they can be broken by the heat, air, or acid. But on the other hand, the minerals are inorganic and they exist in the soil or water, and they cannot be broken down. So for vitamins, we have the water soluble and the fat soluble. And for the minerals, we have the macro minerals and the trace minerals. So the water soluble are going to dissolve. So they're not going to be stored in the body, and they'll be just flushed out with the urine. So you do not need to worry even if consumed anything in excess. But yes, they are important for the body, like we take the vitamin B. But they're going to act as coenzymes. They're going to help trigger so many important chemical reactions, and a lot of them are important for the energy production. So this is a list of all the vitamin B that we have in two, which are important. And these are the recommended allowances for our adults more than 19 years. We have the fat soluble, which will not dissolve, but after consumption, the fat soluble are going to be stored into the liver and the fatty tissues for the future use. And we have A, D, E, and K. We are all very familiar with whatever functions they're going to help us out with. And these are the recommendations of these fat-soluble vitamins. Now, if we come to the macro minerals, that means that these minerals are being needed in larger amounts than the trace minerals which are there. So the macro minerals are the calcium, the phosphorus, the magnesium, the sodium, chloride, potassium, and sulfur. Now, if we look into the recommended adult doses, so these are the allowances which we really need to keep in mind when we are going to consume them. Then we have the trace minerals, which are needed in smaller amounts than the macro minerals. So we have iron, and we already know the functions of iron, the manganese, copper, zinc has gained a lot of importance. Iodine, we are all familiar with, and of course, fluoride and selenium, we are picked up as defense against the oxidative damage. So again, we have the daily allowances for even the trace minerals with us. So now what is the need over here is that this multi-micronutrients are very important to us, right from the menarche to the menopause and beyond, all of them being multitaskers. So now adolescence, this is a period of significant growth and sexual maturation. And we really need to care that if you look into the bone mass, 40% of the peak bone mass in the girls is accumulated at this short stage of her life cycle. So the bone acquisition is accelerated by the other factors like genetic potentials, the lifestyle choices, the diet, eating, behavior, exercise, and so on. But whenever this bone growth or the mass is increasing, what are the raw materials? The raw materials are the minerals and the bone matrix nutrients. So we have the macro minerals, the calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and the skeleton is going to serve as a structural function. Not only this, it's a reservoir so that the calcium levels are being maintained for the rest of our life. What about the bone matrix? The bone matrix is having all the energy, nutrients, and a variety of nutritional cofactors. So what has happened? The adolescent is a window of opportunity to influence her lifelong bone health, and we really need to care about this. Now, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, and it's going to maintain the normal calcium levels, so this is required for our bone health. Now, what happens in the formation of the bones? The growth plate in the bone continues to enlarge. But what about mineralization? But in the absence of inadequate mineralization, the weight-bearing limbs are just going to become bowed. So if there's an inadequate vitamin D level, it's going to prevent the attainment of peak of the bone mass and final height, increasing the risk of osteoporosis and the other diseases which are going to be happening with her in adulthood. So the American Academy of Pediatrics, who said that the adolescents who are not getting the 400 IU per day of vitamin D should be given this supplementation to avoid this. Vitamin A, yes, for our eyesight and immune function. Vitamin C, for the synthesis of collagen, carnitine, and neurotransmitters, and also enhancing the absorption of iron. B6 and BC are the coenzymes for the synthesis of dopamine. Now, what will happen if there's a deficiency? If there's a deficiency, it's going to lead to a dopamine deficiency. So, these adolescents will have attention deficits. Their behavior is going to be impulsive and hyperactivity, like the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Folic acid is a coenzyme, we all know, and this is used in the reactions which are essential for the endogenous synthesis and metabolism of nucleic acid and amino acids. So it's also linked that these adolescents will be better in their academic performance. B12 is used for two very important reactions in our body, and one is transmethylation and another is isomerization reaction. So when both of these reactions, where are they useful? They are useful in the metabolism of components of the myelin sheath of the nerve cell, and therefore for the metabolism of the neurotransmission. So myelination occurs predominantly in the childhood, continues throughout childhood, adolescent, and adulthood, and that's the essential of us having good levels of vitamin B12. So cognitive growth depends on all the micronutrients. Vitamin B12, folate, thiamine, important for our neural pathways, and the deficiencies are going to impair the episodic memory. The language issues also will be impaired. Iron is also required for the oligodendrocyte growth and neurotransmitter production, and therefore even its deficiency will affect the cognition, the memory, the social and motor development, which is important for any adolescent. Iodine and its absence is going to cause mental retardation, and zinc that is being found in the forebrain and the hippocampus. So whenever there's a deficiency, the child will have impaired attention, learning, memory, and possibly may later on develop neuropsychological diseases. So what we need to do? We need to give them a balanced food intake across all the food groups. Milk and dairy products are very, very important, and limit food that contains a lot of fat, a lot of sugar, and they have to have low in salt. So adolescents are the vulnerable, and a special attention is needed to them in the nutrition, and we really need a holistic approach for them. Let's move to the pregnancy. Is micronutrient supplementation really necessary? It's a big yes, because during this period, insufficient stores would lead to negative implications. And what are these? This mother is going to develop anemia, hypertension, labor complications, and the fetus, maybe there's a stillbirth, there's a preterm, there's IGR, some malformations, or an irregular organ formation, or a reduced immunocompetence. And they're going to act as cofactors, as coenzyme for the metabolism of the nutrients in the pregnancy state. So despite a small change in the caloric macronutrient requirements compared to a non-pregnant, the need increases during pregnancy, and especially for the elements of iron, folate, iodine, calcium, and vitamin D. So let's look at the dietary factors which are going to influence the homocysteine metabolism in the DNA. Folate, vitamin B6, B12, choline, methionine from the dietary protein all are going to interact to maintain the appropriate homocysteine and therefore regulate the DNA methylation. So all the epigenetic process, including the DNA methylation, modifying the phenotype outcomes, and has going to have a long-term effects on the health and disease. Therefore, International Federation of Gynecology and Obstetrics recommends on adolescent, on the preconception and maternal nutrition as think nutrition first always. Now, the active form of vitamin D has been demonstrated to adjust the transcription and function of genes associated with implantation, with invasion of placenta, with the angiogenesis. Not only this, the immunomodulatory properties of vitamin D are very, very relevant. So abnormal implantation to be mediated at least in part by an abnormal immune response between the pregnant mother and the infant. So a deficiency may increase any inflammatory reaction, and this mother may also be, with the deficiency of vitamin D, a risk of hypertension. So maternal micronutrient deficiency leads to fetal growth retardation and consequent modification in the phenotype of the baby, and therefore programming for the future metabolic diseases in the adult life. So we need to guide her for the diet, that it has to be rich in whole grains, fruits, vegetables, low in red processed meat, sweets, and sugar sweetened beverages, natural sugars like fresh and fresh dried fruits. So if you come to hypertension, it's not only that it's a placental pathology, but you really need calcium, you need vitamin D, you need zinc, magnesium, sodium, and you need folic acid and certain probiotics. All of them are going to act together to lower the risk of hypertension during her pregnancy. And that's how nutrition acts. And so if we want to find the best foods to give to a pregnant woman, we have to tell her take 6 to 8 servings of whole grains, take 3 or more servings of dairy, take veggies 4 to 5, take proteins up to 6, and take fruits as 4 to 5 servings per day. And these are the various we know what is found in which food ingredient. Now, moving to lactation, mother's milk is free for supplies, but the nutrients that this milk has, no other milk can have. So the nutritional requirements for this mother fall as proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals, and along with omega-3, water, and others. So vitamins and minerals form a very important part. Calcium is essential during lactation, subject to special regulatory mechanism. That could be increased absorption or a decreased renal excretion or a great mobilization. So now to meet these calcium requirements, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that all lactating mothers should consume 5 servings a day of the calcium-rich foods, maybe of any kind. Iron. Mother's milk is not a good source of iron. So to compensate for the very small transfer, at least she needs to take 15 to 25 milligrams of iron. So she has to have lentils, enriched cereals, leafy vegetables, and peas and dry fruits. So vitamin C to help in the absorption. Vitamin D is present in low amounts in the breast milk. So the vitamin D drops were recommended from babies from the age 2 to 4 weeks, for 2 to 4 weeks, and women who have very high intake of vitamin D could provide their babies to good level of vitamin D through the breast milk. So the vitamins in the breast milk depend only on the dietary intake, whereas minerals are secreted into breast milk regardless of the intake of the mother. So therefore the vitamins are very important for both, but minerals are important for the mother. And we all know these vitamins which are there, and the concentration of vitamins in breast milk depends on the mother's intake, and therefore the deficiency also would result because of this. So consequently increasing the intake is recommended in lactation. So the minerals mattering to mother would be the folic acid, the calcium, the iron, the copper, and the zinc during lactation. So what does she need to do here? There are 10 good groups. The 10 good groups are group 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But out of this 10, the 7 are most important. So this mother needs to make a choice of the 5 groups to take a balanced diet out of these 7 groups so that she could take a good amount of these nutrients and vitamins. Moving on to the next age, that's menopause, we know that nutrition is a key component of successful aging and quality of life. We also know cardiovascular disease, diabetes, weight gain, they all are going to increase after menopause, and it's critical to assist these women. How do they select their diet, their nutrients, and with low calories? So women in their 40s, above all, will face so many obstacles, hormonal fluctuations, weight gain, loss of bone muscle, and digestive issues. So this is a transition phase. And now this woman will not need the same amount of calories. She needs at least 200 less calories per day than she needed in her 30s and the first 40s. Now it may be very difficult for somebody to meet the daily requirement of the micronutrients when a calorie intake decreases. So she may need a supplementation. Not only this, her calcium absorption 20 to 30% has declined slowly with age. And when she's reaching 65, the calcium absorption efficacy is 50% lower than the adolescent peak absorption. So she needs to take micronutrients, 2 to 3 servings of fruits and vegetables, milk and milk products, 1000 to 1500 calcium per day, dark leafy vegetables at least once a day. So why? Because she gets a folic acid, good amount of zinc, calcium, iron, and she needs to take those fat soluble vitamins. So elderly people are at risk for vitamin D deficiency because they're not being exposed so much to sunlight, even the skin may not absorb it, and there may be decrease in the renal mass. Vitamin C may be protective against cataract for her. Stress smoking medications may increase her vitamin C requirement, and vitamin E is very, very important for reducing a decline in the cellular immunity. And it's also helpful for her to decrease her hot flashes, and requirement of B6 are increased in the elderly. So calcium more than 800 or up to 1200, vitamin D 1500 to 2000 are the requirements at this stage. Sometimes they have a lot of brain fogging. So we need to tell her, pick up the 8 top foods to beat this brain fogging. So you need micronutrients, you need green leafy vegetables, accord with the flax seeds and broccoli and turmeric that she's having. So what we need to tell her? We need to tell her that after 40, you just turn your plate from the left to that on the right, so that she gets all ingredients and avoid any binge eating. Bhagavad Gita says, not eating between meals is equivalent to upavas. And if you feel hungry between meals, consider having fresh fruits, but ensure that you do not pair it with something like a custard or an ice cream. So you avoid binge eating, you will feel hungry, and that's how you're going to enjoy your meals. So good nutrients are going to help her to age gracefully and face menopause peacefully. But why are we so much concerned about it? Because micronutrients are a health concern. They have got a lot of adverse consequences we already saw, particularly to a more vulnerable group, and that's children and women. And what happens is the adverse effects are not all of which are going to be clinically evident. They're going to be only evident when they come to lot extremes of those deficiencies. So the economy is affected, the public health cost, the loss of capital formation, and of course, 3 major forms of micronutrient which are important in the worldwide are iron, vitamin A, and iodine deficiency. So if we look into the data, over 2 billion people are anemic, just under 2 billion have inadequate iodine nutrition, and 254 million preschool age children are vitamin A deficit. The scale and impact of deficiencies is much more difficult to quantify. But why is all this occurring? It's because the diets which we are taking are lacking the diversity. So what happens? The wealthier population are able to augment dietary staples with micronutrient-rich food. So they may not have that much of deficiency, but what do? They take a lot of pizzas, they later pastas and everything. So they will not be rich in the micronutrients. So there is where they are going to suffer from the micronutrient in some deficiency. But with the poor, what happens is there is a low level of dietary fats and puts the population, and they do not have a diversity in their diet because the roots and the tubers that they're going to consume, the minerals and the cereals after milling will have low amount of the daily requirements. And so they suffer from the micronutrient deficiency. So consumption of a diet that contains a high proportion of energy dense but micronutrient poor processed foods to a population puts them at a risk of this deficiency. So the bottom line stands that we need to have an adequate amount of micronutrients to aim for a balanced diet containing a variety of foods. So if we go into salt, it's 1.5 to 3 to 5 grams. Oil should be 2 tablespoons, fruit 100 grams, vegetable 300, drink 8 glasses, add powdered flaxseed, cinnamon, fenugreek, soft, salads and curds. And look at this plate which is to be there. Open your hands and that has to be your vegetables. Close your fist and that has to be fruits, a meal, and this is just a round block that's made in the picture. And of course, 2 fingers are the cheese and the fat and oil is just your thumb. So this is all that you need to take. So when you eat, you consume the vitamins that plant and animals are creating or the minerals that these plants are absorbing. The micronutrient content of each food is different. And it's best to eat a variety of foods that are going to give you the best vitamin and minerals. So an adequate intake of all micronutrients is necessary for the optimum health, as each vitamin, each mineral is going to have its own specific role in your body. So why did we talk about micronutrients today? Why? Because everybody wants to maintain an optimum health and an optimum weight. So I end with always think nutrition and think micronutrients. So thank you so much for a very patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Ritu Khanna. Yes, ma'am, Asha. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Ritu. So that was a very important reminder, and you covered all the micronutrients right from homocysteine to iron. So hats off to you. And looking at us gynecologists, I think we are the best advertisements what good nutrition can do.
Yes.
If all of us are, most of us are beyond 50, and don't look it, everybody will think you're so good looking and attractive. And in today's world, I think that is what is most important. People would spend so much money on parlors, and they would need to understand that nutrition from within is what actually makes you beautiful and happy, and also keep your health. So that was really great. Thank you, Dr. Ritu. Over to you, Dr. Ritu.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ritu, for doing more than justice to the presentation. In fact, I have to share with the viewers that it's only 4 days ago that I requested her to be the main headline speaker for this talk. And she put together a presentation and she put together so many different aspects of micronutrients in such a short time. I'm happy to confirm that we have Dr. Fessy Louis sir also with us. Sir has been a past vice president of FOXI. Can I request Dr. Anju Soni to please do the honors and introduce formally? Shrutika, can we have a slide, please?
It's really a pleasure to introduce Dr. Fessy. Dr. Fessy doesn't require any introduction. He has been Vice President of FOXI in 21-22 and also ICOG Governing Council member. And he is also very, very active in reproductive medicine and also Secretary for Kerala chapter of ISAR, Vice Chairperson of Kerala chapter of IAG. So many positions he's held, and of course he is very sound in academics and so many awards. Welcome, Dr. Fessy, to deal with this such an important topic today, which is, always we talk of medicines, exercise, but nutrition, I feel, is the most important thing for all of us, and most of us don't even understand about the nutrition. So thank you for being here and addressing this topic. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all of you. So once again, thank you for giving me an opportunity here. Can I share?
Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon to all of you. I think we had an excellent talk about the micronutrients. I think Dr. Ritu has covered almost everything about that. I'll just try to very briefly emphasize why it is very important in
So sorry
each.
to interrupt. Can you go full screen, please?
I have made full screen.
Okay, we are not seeing it in full screen.
Okay, wait a minute.
Maybe you can stop and reshare again.
Yes.
Then the text will be easier to read.
Is it full screen now?
No, sir.
Is it now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think Dr. Ritu has covered already all the important aspect about the micronutrients and how it is important. So I will just briefly highlight how it is important in different aspects of premenstrual, then menopausal and pregnancy time, how it is important briefly, so that it will be just quick recollect to that. So micronutrients for premenstrual syndrome, as you all know, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, vitamin B6, folate, and B12 are required to synthesize the neurotransmitters that are potentially involved in the pathophysiology of premenstrual syndrome. I think these things we have studied long back in physiology times. And after that, when we start practice, we'll be always forgetting it. We'll be just trying to prescribe those medicines which our MR people will be promoting. But the importance of this is that why these synthesize are very important for the neurotransmitters. And riboflavin is needed to activate vitamin B6, which is a cofactor in the generation of serotonin from the amino acid to tryptophan. So niacin deficiency may lead to depletion of tryptophan, thereby reducing its availability to form serotonin. And thiamine is required for the metabolism of glucose and precursors of GABA. So vitamin B12, B6 and folate are associated with the formation of S-adenosylmethionine and tetrahydrobioprotein, both of which are required for metabolism of serotonin. Regarding the menopausal, the importance of micronutrients is people over the age of 50 may need more vitamins and minerals than younger adults. I think the food, how we have to change when you are above 40, already Dr. Ritu had told, and increased risk of vitamin and trace element deficiencies during menopause results of lifestyle, natural events of aging, and hormonal disturbance. So the risk of nutritional disturbance, in particular, vitamin and trace element deficiency is high during the menopause, which results in all these lifestyle problems. And such deficiencies revealed by the nutritional surveys is the result of lifestyle as well as the natural events, aging together with hormonal disturbances. So how do you overcome this? The consequence of these deficiencies is concern with sensitivity to estrogens, and structure of the skin and its accessory structures, and bone metabolism and immune function, increased risk of degenerative pathology, some cardiovascular. If you take this as together, it will affect mainly the lifestyle of the menopausal woman. So it involves the hormonal sensitivity, skin changes, bone changes, immune function, and cardiovascular. Together, it will lead to all these problems in the menopause. So consequence of these deficiencies is concerned not only to the estrogen, but the structure of the skin, accessory structures, bone metabolism, immune, and increased risk of degenerative pathology like a cardiovascular system. So I have seen, because my father is a general practitioner, so I know a lot of people in the menopausal time. Then when we give the nutritional supplements, the whole lifestyle changes. How that is not an acute, just like for a small inflammation, when you give anti-inflammatory, it won't affect like that. So when you are, especially when the diet, when you are now it is, especially when people are more because of their job, everything change into the junk food style, or when you are restricted with your diet, so you will be deficient in the lot of micronutrients. So that is why the role of micronutrients is very essential in the menopausal age. So the importance is balanced and appropriate multivitamin and mineral supplements, that is containing all the vitamins A, B2, B5, B6, B9, vitamin E, and minerals like chromium, copper, magnesium, selenium, and zinc appear to be justified. And the antioxidants like vitamin C acutely improve the endothelial function in postmenopausal women with established estrogen deficiencies. So that is the importance of this. So all the micronutrients, there are a lot of studies has been found. A study reported that supplementation of essential amino acids along with that arginine in glucose intolerant elderly women improved lean body mass strength and physical function. Also, elderly women classified as having the moderate depressive symptoms displayed a deficiency in the essential amino acid like L-isoleucine and L-leucine, etc. So that is how there are a lot of evidence also is there, and also the studies also has been justified the role of micronutrients in perimenopausal women. So the calcium, thiamine, and pyridoxines are essential, and elderly women with moderate depressive symptoms displayed in deficiency of, as I told just now, isoleucine and leucine. And the studies has been reported that it definitely supplemented of essential as amino acid is needed to improve the lean body mass strength and physical function. So lastly, the micronutrients in perimenopausal, we have already told that. Lastly, during pregnancy, before, during, and after pregnancy, what is the role of micronutrients? Definitely, micronutrients provide an attractive alternative or complement to the conventional fertility therapy. Even though some women doesn't respond to some fertility ovulation induction medicines, when we give a break and then give a supplement, nutrient supplement, and call back after 3 months, and then we give, they usually seem to be responding. Even though the studies with that is limited, but there are a lot of studies about recently some studies of vitamin D and others are coming, which is very essential for fertility therapy also. So also in pregnant and lactating women, it has been categorically proved that they require more energy, more protein, iron, calcium, and vitamins to meet their increased body needs. So that is to highlight the different stages, right from the pre-menarche stage to the menopausal, perimenopausal stage, and also especially in our specialty during the fertility treatment, during pregnancy, and lactating period. Definitely, the role of micronutrients is proved to be very crucial in giving a positive result and reducing the risk associated with other problems during those periods. Thank you for patiently.
Thank you, Dr. Fesi, for covering an important topic very precisely and in a succinct manner. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. And I have to again share with the viewers that sir is at work. He had some network issues, but still he managed to find a spot where there is a decent network and he could deliver his talk. That speaks volumes for the commitment that our faculty have. Once they commit for a program, then they are there and they are well prepared and they do justice to the topic. So it's lovely to have you again, sir, with us. Thank you so much for being with us and for sharing your valuable views and opinions on this important topic. The last talk for today is by Dr. Shobha Gudi ma'am, and she is somebody who I have worked with closely. We all of us remember the wonderful AICOG in 2019. She was the president of the Bangalore Society then, and she was one of the chief organizers of that lovely AICOG. She's also served as the president of the Bangalore Society and various other capacities for the same society. She's been chairperson of the FOXY Family Welfare Committee when I was chair for the FOXY Endocrinology Committee some time back. She's also been awarded the CL Javeri AICOD Symposium at Chennai, and she's also an important contributor to the Bangalore Indian Menopause Society chapter. She's here to talk to us about the scientific evidence and the different studies, the rationale behind micronutrients from menarche to menopause in women. And thank you very much, ma'am. I think you are also traveling, and thank you for being with us and for sparing your precious time.
Thank you.
Over to you.
So Pratik, I'm actually kind of stationed now at my second OPD of the day. I have just finished my patients and I thought I'm in the hospital. So I'm able to join, not a problem.
Madam, please speak little louder.
Yeah, I will speak. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah, just a moment. So you can see my screen, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. If you
Yeah.
can go full screen.
Fine. So my slide is seen? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Please
Here
go.
I am. It is impossible that Dr. Pratik Tambe will invite and I will not come because I think we have a bond which was very, very strong, and because we were co-chairpersons in FOXY. Now, it is wonderful to see Dr. Pratik's work over the years, and also the way he is in a process of constant evolution. So from endocrinology, he is also making his mark in nutrition, and I'm very happy to support your event today. Thank you for inviting me here, and my greetings to the other speakers, the chairpersons, dear Anju. Wonderful to meet you here, and of course, my favorite from my alma mater, Asha Jain. Thank you for being here, and how can I not say my greetings to Bessie Lewis, the quietest VP that I have ever met and a very efficient one. So thanks all for creating this wonderful platform. And those were very good talks by both Ritu and by Bessie. So I do not have any clinical inputs to give. I only want to share some scientific evidence which supports the statements made by the previous speakers. To share a few studies, there's one study on dietary vitamin intake and incident premenstrual syndrome. So now premenstrual syndrome is a significant problem in women of reproductive age group. And women are silent sufferers because most often they take it as a kind of, fated thing that for 1 week or 10 days of every month, they have to feel low and they have to feel kind of very distressed without much hope. So this study has looked at a 10-year follow-up of 1,057 women who were confirmed cases. I want to give an input at this point of time that the diagnosis of premenstrual syndrome or premenstrual dysphoric disorder is not a very simple one. It has got, physical component symptoms and psychological symptoms, and one has to be scored against that risk scoring, and then we come to the diagnosis of PMDD. This effort has to be made because eventually some of these women might require antipsychotic medication or at least a course of SNRI. Some of them may require combined oral contraceptive pills. And what we need to look at it, is there anything in the diet which will make it easy or which can relieve these women, because this will look like a simple solution for such a complex problem. So this particular study found that women in the highest quintile of riboflavin intake 2 to 4 years before the diagnosis year had 35% lower risk of developing premenstrual syndrome than those who had lowest quintile. And in conclusion, they found that there is a significant lower risk of PMS in women with high intakes of thiamine and riboflavin from food sources. So this is indeed very kind of enlightening, because both thiamine and riboflavin are found abundantly in vegetables and fruits, and one need to incorporate raw food in an everyday intake of diet. Multi-micronutrients for premenstrual syndrome, therefore, this method was double-blinded. We're talking about still the same method, same study, double-blind randomized controlled trial. And it was found that, it allocated 78 regularly menstruating women with premenstrual syndrome to consume multivitamin, mineral, and natural extract amino acid or vitamin B6, 80 milligram per day, daily, following a 2-cycle baseline period for 3 menstrual cycles. And the results were that both treatments produce a comparable reduction in premenstrual syndrome, whether it was a isolated vitamin B6 or it was a multivitamin. Full remission in premenstrual syndrome after 3 cycles were seen, 0.72% with, I think that is 72% with multivitamin mineral versus 60% with vitamin B6. And there was an improvement in quality of life. Study 2, there were no, in this second study, there were no group differences in side effects, nor any serious effects were reported. And the conclusions are that both treatments provided similar benefits. So that shows the micronutrients on quality of life, as well as potential clinical benefit of micronutrients for premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Okay, so the quality of life questionnaire showed a slightly better improvement with the micronutrient arm rather than only the vitamin B6 arm. The third study is about zinc supplementation in premenstrual syndrome. Many of us are familiar with the value of zinc supplementation during pregnancy and how it improves, the outcome for the offspring in terms of better milestones, better neurological development, and neurocognitive delays are avoided, etc. But when it comes to premenstrual syndrome, we were not much aware about this, that this intervention can in fact relieve this distressing symptom. So this study was an RCT. 60 women with premenstrual syndrome diagnosed received either 30 milligram zinc gluconate. 30 of them received that, and 30 of them received the placebo. And the study period was for 12 weeks or 3 full months. The results said that after 12 weeks of zinc versus placebo, there was a very encouraging decrease in the physical symptoms, decrease in the psychological symptoms. And there has been some effort to look at some of the tests which are done for, to check on the outcome, and that is brain-derived neurotrophic factor and total antioxidant capacity. Both of them were significantly elevated with a very good p-value. So this indicates that this is a very kind of insightful study because they have put in a lot of markers as well for outcomes. So it is definitely more convincing than only a clinical outcome, which can be sometimes, so many subjective and objective factors can play a role in that, in contrast to when you can assess a factor biochemically. So that will, give a lot of precision to the study. In this method, the effect of multivitamin mineral supplement on cognitive function and fatigue during extended multitasking. And the fatigue of multitasking, which is spoken about, is a very important factor for women, because especially the working women, because they cannot do away with their primary responsibility of running a household, even though when they are kind of climbing the success ladder, competing with the other gender in their outside world. Now, in this placebo-controlled double-blind randomized trial, parallel groups trial, the effect of a multivitamin or a mineral was assessed in 216 females aged 25 to 50 years, and they were put through a multitasking framework. They completed a 4-module version, and the results with this were that it decreased the negative effect of extended task completion on mood and fatigue, the supplementation, and increased multitasking performance and mathematical processing and Stroop for faster and more accurate responses. So this is very detailed evaluation and showing that there is improvement in cognition following micronutrient interventions in the general population. So mind you, the women are not some elite group of high education, etc. They are from the general population with the average standard education and their tasks thereof. The effect of a multivitamin or mineral or vitamin D supplement on cognitive function over an 8-week period was assessed, was compared with volunteers taking vitamin C, and healthy adults were recruited aged 21 to 59 years. 75% of them were women. That is how this study has made its way into this talk here, because though it is not only women's study, the majority are women, and in a randomized double-blind control study. And the results definitely showed a better verbal visual memory, visual-motor processing speed, visual strategy generation, better motor planning, learning and working memory, etc. So this is a cognitive assessment, cognitive improvement. And this is the data which in conclusion says that this evidence suggests that suboptimal micronutrient intake may have a negative effect on cognition across the lifespan. So I think as belonging to a very highly functional and intellectual society like FOXY, we ourselves also must look at micronutrient supplement because of the nature of work we do. Effects of multivitamin mineral preparation on mood and blood biomarkers has been studied in this particular one, and it explored the effects of 4-week multivitamin and mineral supplementation on mood and neurocognitive function. And here half of the study group was women 18 to 40 years of age, and multivitamin mineral preparation improved the mood, decreased the homocysteine level, which improves the endothelial health. The increased homocysteine is harmful for endothelial health. We all know that. And also increased blood B vitamin levels significantly. So this study in conclusion said that MVM supplementation has beneficial effect on mood, and underpinned by elevated B vitamins and lower homocysteine. A very, very logical conclusion there, and we must all look for this endpoint. The brain activity micronutrient status, if we can talk about, the brain is by far the most metabolically active organ in the body. We must remember that the brain consumes very high levels of oxygen from the blood and is a constantly functioning. The human brain is a marvel, and there is no other organ in the entire world which can match up to the intricacies of functioning of the human brain. And therefore, it is our duty to support it with every external factor possible. With overall energy expenditure and local blood supply is closely related to the neural activity, and both energy metabolism and cerebral vasodilatation are actually dependent on adequate micronutrient status. And there you go. It also means that our performance as professionals actually depends on micronutrients. So micronutrients and cognitive health. This looks like the end statements. They are essential for physical and cognitive health. The role in brain functioning is there's a direct correlation to cellular energy production, myelin generation, cell maintenance and repair, and neurotransmitter synthesis. So that is the vital components of brain functioning, and all of them are supported by micronutrients. They must be acquired through diet or supplements, as the human body is unable to synthesize sufficient vitamins and minerals to meet the requirements. Now, this study looked at the multivitamin mineral help in improving stress, sleep, tiredness, and improving feeling of well-being. In this method, the randomized pilot study 54 post-menopausal women. Very interesting, because here it is catering to the older women from the outpatient department, were supplemented with either MVM or placebo. And here we must look at this study very carefully, because this is a good comparison, because the placebo has been used, and the results say that there is moderate to almost complete improvement in symptoms from between 2 months and 3 months versus placebo, and some improvement also in the as an added bonus in the night sweats, in the insomnia, and the feeling of well-being by the end of 2 months. So the menopausal symptoms also are relieved to some extent, and that is a huge dividend, because today there is a lot of focus on non-hormonal or alternative ways of managing menopause. symptoms, and definitely MBM is a very important component of that. So in result, it does show that MBM gives complete improvement in hot flushes, insomnia, tiredness, and the feeling of well-being with a good statistical significance. And of course, there are no side effects about which we are terrified when we are prescribing hormones. We are always on the edge and we are always on risk assessment. Of course, hormones are wonderful methods for control of menopausal symptoms, but look here, multivitamins can also achieve something. So in conclusion, the multivitamin mineral helps in improving the symptoms of menopause and improves the feeling of well-being in post-menopausal women. This method has looked at the standardized bacopa monian extract on cognitive performance, and I think this is a plant extract which was subjected to a randomized double placebo-controlled trial, and 48 participants without any dementia were recruited, and this extract was used, and they found that there is a potential of safely enhancing cognitive performance in aging. That is so much so about the plant extract. Now this is about lifestyle in women using dietary supplements, and this has looked at 13,000 plus women for regular dietary supplements over the past year. The results are the use of vitamin mineral supplements are significantly associated with higher age, being non or ex-smoker, lower BMI, higher physical leisure time activity, and higher educational level. So I think these are the barriers also that we must look at, because such studies like this tell us that, which are the women who are more likely to use, and then we can focus more on women who are vulnerable and do not use this or cannot afford this and make it available for them. So this study concluded that there is a high prevalence of supplement use, and that was associated with several presumably healthier lifestyle. So why not look at it and say that micronutrient ingestion is also a healthy lifestyle, because after all, you are what you eat or you are what you consume. This is looking at the effect of green tea on cardiovascular diseases, and so much has been spoken about green tea that I can safely go directly to the conclusion that there is an inverse association between consumption of green tea and various serum markers that show that green tea may act protectively against cardiovascular disease. Green tea also has its own challenges, because sometimes in postmenopausal women it causes higher bladder irritation. So that will go only as far as the women can tolerate it. The effects of grapeseed extracts on cardiovascular parameters in middle-aged women. And the conclusion was that the proanthocyanidine extract from grapeseed is effective in reducing blood pressure in middle-aged women. And of course, all this will have to stand the strength of more, trials as compared to the regular medication that we use. Okay, so far it has been tested only with the placebo. So in conclusion, I think nutrition plays a crucial role in the maintenance of health of a woman throughout life. Puberty triggers a growth spurt, which increases nutrition needs, including macro and micronutrients. And this kind of supplementation in women helps to obtain adequate amount of the nutrients, improves the quality of life, reduces the symptoms of PMS, improves the cognitive function, mood and fatigue performance in multitasking women, and it also improves the symptoms of menopause, and it helps as immunomodulators, improves the immune functions, and it is an attractive alternative or complementary to conventional fertility therapy as well. It reduces low birth weight and SGA babies, as the previous speakers have spoken of, and that is how I conclude my talk. Thank you so much for a patient listening.
Thank you, Dr. Shobha Guli, for highlighting all the important evidence and all the studies which have been conducted, not only abroad, but also in India. I'm very pleased to announce that we have over 800 viewers who are logged in live all across the country for this very important nutrition-based event. It's not related to high-risk pregnancy, it's not related to infertility, and still we have 800 plus audience, which speaks volumes for the stature of our faculty and the important key messages that they've given out. So thank you again to all three of you. We have a few questions which have come in from the audience, and with your permission, I'll just take a few of the relevant ones. There are many which are irrelevant, but we will not take those. We'll take only ones which are related specifically to the three talks that we had today. The first question is from Dr. P. Bala. She's from Andhra Pradesh, and she's asking how much protein should be taken daily. This has already been addressed, but I think just to reinforce, we could take this question.
So it's different for the adolescents. Adolescents require around 54 grams per day. If it's a male and a female, takes 57 grams per day. But when we move into the pregnancy, the recommendation is that you have to increase. It has to be 1.1 gram per day, more than the non-pregnant women. And trimester-wise, a little difference, but this is an average that we need to add.
So anything between 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram per day is what is recommended, depending on the BMI, the age, and the specific physiological status, whether she's non-pregnant, convalescing, recovering, lactation, so on and so forth.
Yeah, on an average, is just a minute. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, good.
Yeah, Ritu, on an average, it will be safe to say that at least 60 to 70 grams per day should be taken, right? On an average.
Yes.
Yes, on an average.
The problem is that India, despite having so much diversity and so much richness of organic, healthy millets, grains in our traditional diet, because of changes in diet, lifestyle, culture, today we are consuming hardly 20 or 30 grams of protein per day, especially those of us who are pure vegetarians or vegans even.
Yeah, there is a problem with the Indian way of cooking also.
Yeah.
And it does destroy the micronutrients to a great extent, and also it changes the bioavailability of most of them. So probably, that is why many dietitians feel that we should make raw food an important, uncooked food an important part of the diet. At least maybe 20 to 30% should be raw. So we have to work towards that, I think so.
Thank you. A very interesting question is, why is there so much diversity between the cost factor? Indian nutritional supplements are quite cheap, maybe for around 2 or 3 rupees, but international brands are 40 rupees plus. So does this mean that our indigenous brands are inferior to the ones we get imported from abroad? $1 million question. Dr. Pesci, you want to take that? Because especially in infertility field, we prescribe a lot of micronutrients, which are extremely expensive. We don't know whether they have the desired effect or not, but we are giving them as a last hope, sometimes to patients.
I think routinely, I don't give micronutrients, only specifically for PCOS specific drugs like metformin. I used to give. I even don't give minus at all. But micronutrients, but there are some studies. Vitamin D is very deficiency is really useful. So I recently started trying for a few patients vitamin D. But otherwise, micronutrients is, as you told, is given as a last resort, not as initially not as a blanket therapy for all. We are not giving.
So again, here I must point out that there are Indian brands which are available. There are imported brands as well. There have been no head-to-head comparisons from indigenous brands versus imported brands, to my knowledge. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
And maybe I think maybe the raw materials and all the costing would be different. I think if they manufacture, take it here and they get it from outside, maybe the cost adds on to them.
Since there is a major movement towards Make in India, I think we should encourage Indian brands. We should try and promote Indian brands and see whether they actually work in our own patient population. Of course, those would not be randomized controlled trials. They would be just, anecdotal evidence.
Maybe cost.
As Pradeep told, the established brands which have been giving consistent results, we have to stick to that. Because just like that, one molecule comes in India, there will be number of brands. One combinations of all small companies will make, even they don't even manufacture, even though make in India, that means products may be from India, but not from from that basic standard of production is not there. So the quality check is not there, especially it is very difficult to have a products like micronutrients to have a quality check. So established brands which has been giving good results will be the one which we have to stick on to it. As Pradeep told, our what has been, instead of we trying new brands, whatever giving good result which I have been using, we have to stick to that.
Thank you, sir. One last question we'll take because this is again interesting, and that is, what is the role of omega fatty acids in humans of different age group, and do you think that they actually make a difference? Dr. Shubha, Dr. Ritu, you want to take that?
I think, yeah. I think this is very important, especially we are stressing it in pregnancy. I think DHA and omega-3 fatty acids is something with the brain and the eyes. So all the cognitive development is important, and 60% I think of the brain is going to develop of the baby from second trimester to 2 years of age. So consuming this really makes a lot of difference in the cognitive function. But apart from them, I think there is that this molecule has anti-inflammatory, antioxidative properties also. So in so many cardiovascular and so many cancer therapies and all, so that also it's coming up. And for the other conditions, I think Shobha madam can share some
anti-aging and cardioprotective is one of the main reasons why these nutraceuticals are touted in lay press.
Yes.
So exactly to what extent they may protect, your guess is as good as mine. But then it's always something which is better than nothing, because we Indians have the highest risk of cardiovascular disease. Once we cross age 30, 35, people are dropping dead like flies from heart attacks in gyms, even on the planes and while traveling. Many of us have inherent risk factors which are undiagnosed, unknown, and being born South Asian Indians itself confers a first degree risk factor. So there, I think, Dr. Shobha, you want to add something?
Yeah, you are very right, Pratik. We are potential diabetics, we are potential cardiac patients, we are potential hypertensives. You name it, and we are all NCDs, we are very high risk. Now, what I am looking at omega-3 fatty acids today is that the same phenomenon which happened to vitamin D a few years ago, what is that called? Panacea phenomenon, or what is that called, where we say that it is going to prevent everything and it is going to cure everything. So I understand the question from the audience. I don't know who has asked, but I think all of us are facing that kind of hype, the overhype for micronutrients, and many who have joined may be skeptical about whatever we have told. But let me tell you that omega-3 fatty acids are actually very vital nutrients, especially for the pregnant mother. And if you remember well, that the natural source is thought to be fish, and traditionally also in fish eating communities, pregnant women are recommended to eat, good quality fish, and it is always thought. And as a personal experience, I don't know whether you have seen it, Fessy, I have found that people who consume a lot of fish are quite brainy also. So
yes, fish is very good for omega-3 fatty acid.
Correct.
Nowadays,
very good source, natural source.
Compared to the previous years, their whole dietary habits is changing. That's what I told. When they go for more for junk foods, our ancestors were following certain diets, certain festivals, they take certain things. These all are proved to be giving sufficient things in a fixed manner, which is necessary in a whole year throughout.
Exactly.
So
and they were scientifically based, only they didn't have randomized control trials 5,000 years back. Exactly. So obviously, it is not published in newspapers and research papers and magazines.
Vegans, I think they need a supplementation there.
Yeah, yes, vegans to some extent.
Vegans need, even vegetarians need, though flaxseed and
walnuts
and what is that, walnuts are thought to be good sources of omega-3, but not as good as fish. So then supplements are necessary. Omega-3 in particular has got a protective effect even in older women. They say that it has some protective effect in aging women, the cognitive improvement is there, etc. So I think it is okay to believe that it is so, because traditionally also this was thought about in Indian diet. Incorporating the fish in a big way was always thought, and always we vegetarians used to feel that we are being deprived. So it is good to take supplements in that. And omega-3 still has got, there's still a lot of potential research for this molecule, which is going to come up. I think many studies are still going on. I think Ritu knows about that.
Yeah. And I think in our patients, with the history of some preterm deliveries of preeclampsia, we like to put them on this, maybe because of the decrease in the hyperlipidemia that it's giving an advantage. So those patients also, I think, will be benefited if we put them into.
Fantastic. So you had an amazing session today highlighting the importance of micronutrients, different kinds of micronutrients at different life stages of a woman, right from menarche to menopause. I'm highly indebted to the chairpersons and the speakers who are here today, who shared their important knowledge with us, their own personal experiences, and we also tackled a few audience questions at the end. I'm pleased to announce that we have more than 800 viewers logged in live. Of course, this will be uploaded to YouTube as well later. And for those of you who missed it, please feel free to get in touch with us. We'll share the YouTube link with you as well for later. I have Ms. Usha, who's from the Apex team, who's joined us a little late, and I think she wants to speak for a couple of minutes before we wind up the program. Let me just hand over to her by saying that I'm very highly indebted to Apex as well as Science Integra for being the science backbone behind us. Subbu and Shrutika, thank you for being with us as well. Over to
Thank
you.
you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much. On behalf of Team Apex, we thank doctors joined in this forum who shared their views on nutritional importance for women. And we also thank Doctor Fraternity for joining in our campaign, Women's Health, Nation's Wealth. So we thank technical support team and also Dr. Pratik to completely taken over the session. And we also thank Dr. Ritu, Dr. Shobha, and Dr. Chesi, and Dr. Asha and Dr. Anju. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll end the session. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Shobha.
Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye.
You can take us off here. Thank you, everybody. Bye
Thank
for
you.
now.
Bye. Bye, Ash.